Hello everybody, welcome to Perfect English with me, Alex. Hope you are all okay. A huge thank you to all of my new subscribers this week. I really appreciate you all subscribing to me, following me and contacting me. Really appreciate it. I also have a problem with my microphone this week. My microphone seems to have broken, so next week I will have a new one, but for this one I apologize if the audio isn't as good as my previous videos. I got the idea for this week's video because a lot of people have been reaching out to me and contacting me this week, and I noticed that a lot of them were asking the same questions in different ways and not always in the way that a native English speaker would ask them. So I have put together 15 basic questions that you need to get right. Because if you just get the word order slightly wrong or miss one word, you can come across as rude or just not make sense. So it's very important you ask these questions in the correct way. You may think you already know how to ask these questions, and that's great if you do, but I want to try and teach you how to ask them like a native English speaker, because we are very sensitive in England about manners and being polite. So it's very important that you ask these questions in the correct way. One, to be understood, and two, to come across as nice and friendly and polite, which I'm sure you all want to do. A good rule to follow is always to add the word please to your questions at the front or at the end. Very, very small word, but a huge difference this word makes when asking questions. Just makes you sound more polite and more like a native speaker. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like the video, tell your friends about it, comment on the video. I appreciate every single person who watches this video, so thank you so much. And also, I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Perfect English Alex. I post daily content to help improve your English vocabulary and knowledge of English culture. So please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Perfect English Alex. So here you are, 15 basic English questions that you need to get right when you ask them. Hope you enjoy. Number one, what is your name? A very common question people ask. I've been asked this question a lot in the last week, but I've been asked it in so many different ways. A lot of them make sense grammatically, but they're just not what we say as an English speaker. An English person would never ask it in this way. I've been asked, tell me your name. Your name? Name? What your name? Not right. They are all wrong. It's very important you ask this question, what is your name? This will help you be understood and not come across as rude, because there's a big difference between what is your name and tell me your name. In English culture, those two are completely different. One is polite and one is quite rude. Number two, how are you? It's a very common question that we ask our friends and people we know. Whenever we see somebody that we haven't seen in a while or meet up with a friend, it's, oh, hello, how are you? How have you been? How are you? Very good question to ask to show that you care about somebody and to be polite, and a very good conversational starter. So number two, how are you? Number three, what have you been up to? This question we would ask our friends once we've asked how they are, how are you, what have you been up to? Just means, what have you been doing since I last saw you? Or we could say, what have you been up to today? What have you been doing today? A great conversational question to ask and a great way to build your fluency and practice English. Number four, where is the a great question to ask when you are looking for something. If you don't know where something is, you could ask somebody, and it's very important to add excuse me when you are speaking to somebody that you don't know. So if it's somebody in the street, excuse me, where is the library? Where is the supermarket? A very, very good question to know, because you may not know where you're going if you're in England. It's a very polite way of asking this. So number 4, where is the... Number 5, how do I get to? So if somebody has told you where something is, you might not know how to get there. Which direction do you go? This is a great way of asking for directions. Number 5, how do I get to the supermarket? How do I get to the library? A very polite way of asking for directions. And number 6, a great question when shopping or out for dinner or drinks. How much is this? A very, very good question to know, because we always want to know how much things cost. It's just normal and natural. So, how much is this dress? How much is this drink? Very, very good. A very, very good question to know, and a great question to be able to ask people. Number 6, how much is this? And also, if you don't know what it is that you're asking for, if you don't know how to say it, you can always just point. So, how much is this? Very, very clear and very obvious. How much is this? Number 7, a great question to know. How do I say perfect? Great question to know, because you're going to need to know the answer. You're going to need to ask this question an awful lot. So, how do I say, and then you can point to whatever it is. So, how do I say this? Banana. Oh, thank you so much. It's a great question to ask. It was one of the first things I learned in Spanish when I moved to Mexico, because I need to ask it all the time. How do you say this? How do you say this? So a great question to know. Number 8, very similar to the previous one, but how do you spell this? A great question to ask, because spelling is so hard. A lot of people who learn English struggle with spelling. So always ask people, how do you spell this? Great question to ask. How do you spell this? Number 9, how old are you? A very common question, and like with name, number 1, like with what is your name, I get asked this in so many different ways. Tell me your age. What's your years? Old? Just so many different ways, but the way that we ask it in England, how old are you? If you can get that in your brain and ask that question like that, it's perfect. You will just come across as so much more polite and understood better. Number 10, where are you from? If ever you want to know somebody's home country or their nationality, a great question to ask, where are you from? I am from England. Number 11, please may I have? This is a great question to know because it has 2 meanings. The first meaning we use in a restaurant, or if we are buying a drink, or we are buying food, or we are buying a drink. Please may I have the curry? Please may I have a Coca-Cola? It's a very, very good question, and it's the most polite way to ask for something in a restaurant. The second meaning of this is if your friend has something and you might be eating and you want him to pass it to you, please may I have the ketchup? And your friend will pass you the ketchup. So 2 ways of asking, please may I have? And number 12, when you've ordered your food and you've eaten it and you've had a really nice time, you want to pay, unfortunately, you can ask, please may I have the bill? Always remember the please. Please may I have the bill? And we don't say the check. In England, we say the bill. The check is American English. So please may I have the bill? Number 13, where can I buy? So if you are in England or an English-speaking country and you want to buy something, this is a very, very good question to ask your neighbours or your friends. Where can I buy some milk? Where can I buy this t-shirt? Very, very good question to know, and always remember, please, and excuse me if you are talking to somebody that you don't know. And number 14, please may you help me. So if ever you are lost or stuck or you need assistance, or if you are going to ask somebody in the street anything, it's really good practice to say, please may you help me? Please can you help me? Very good question, and it just shows that one, you are confident, and two, you know, that you're polite and you're friendly and you're approachable. You're not just going up to somebody and just shouting at them. You're saying, please can you help me? A great question to ask. And number 15, if you want to find out what somebody does for a job, what they do for a living, we ask, what do you do? A nice simple question, what do you do? That's how we find out somebody's job. I am an English teacher. What do you do? There you have 15 basic English questions that you need to get correct. If you get these questions right, your fluency and your knowledge of the English language is going to increase so much. You're going to be able to express yourself better, ask questions better, feel more confident in your English speaking, and be better understood by native speakers. You're also going to come across as so much more polite if you just ask these questions in this way. So I hope you got something from this video and I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, like the video, tell your friends about it, drop a comment on the video. I appreciate every single person who likes, comments, shares, subscribe. Anything you can do to help boost my channel would be great. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Perfect English Alex. I post daily content on there to help improve your knowledge of English language and English culture. So please follow me at Perfect English Alex. So that is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it and I look forward to seeing you all next week. See you next time.